Welcome everyone to this special edition of the Authors Forum hosted by the Lamb Global Community, where we attract, develop, and multiply leaders. And we're so excited to have in the house today the highly publicized Miss Marissa Nehlsen. How are you, Miss Marissa?
I am delighted to be here with all of you. And of course, anytime Dr. Michael calls, I answer that call and I say, "Yes, sir, I am with you. I'm on it. I'm coming. Can't wait to be in the room with you because you just bring an energy to every
Yeah.
community that you're in, every community, Dr. Michael."
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. Miss Marissa, I was talking to you before we started that your book is so magnetic and authentic. It's such a book. I mean, the read was so beautiful. I'm just enjoying it. But I have to drop the book to get on this program. And the first question I want to ask you is this, because the first time I hear you speak on stage, I thought I was the only one that was wowed until Chris Robinson have to bring you again to the mentorship 8 a.m. a Monday after IMC for
Yeah.
you to share again. I was hooked. And it's not about the message, but it's all about the authenticity that comes with your message. And I want us to share because we're going to be learning. And today will not really be the time for the nuances of the book. But what we are interested in the authors forum is we want to understand your book writing process. And like I told you, I'm going to call you off because we have another section that we're gonna dive into the book chapter by chapter. We already created that one for you. But
Oh,
today,
wow.
yeah, today there's so many coaches right here all over the world. A lot of them has this book in the womb. They have the kind of they believe that there's a book inside of them. And the good
Yeah.
news is, since we started the Authors Forum, many authors have emerged from the Authors Forum. And the Authors Forum started with people coming to me. They saw me writing books, and they was like, "Oh, what's the secret?" And all that. I said, "Okay, well, instead of telling one person, let's do it with more people." So 5 people started May 2024. And one of the people that started is here, Dr. Shanti Prasad, a Maslow leadership coach. And
Oh, woo woo.
yeah, and guess what? She's already started writing a book coming out before the end of this year. We have like not less than 10 books published since we started the Authors Forum. And we started bringing guest authors like Dr. Kenisha Williams. She's been here. And the good news about you is we want to hear your story. What is the motivation behind Live Life Rich? Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, first, let me just say that is stunning. That is
Mm,
stunning. I know that there are many authors in the room.
mm,
As you begin this journey, it takes longer than you think it will.
mm,
It is harder than you think it will be,
mm,
but it is worth every bit of the sacrifice
mm,
of the season you must go
mm.
through to birth this thing that
Mm,
will reach and teach the world. My motivation for really starting the book writing process, for many years I had been a speaker. I've trained, I've coached, I've
mm,
owned many multiple businesses. I'm an entrepreneur, so I love the business world. I love the coaching and speaking world. But as I began to think about being able to help more people,
mm,
I realized, the greats, the John C. Maxwell's, the people that I have read their stories, and if you come to my home, I have a whole library upstairs. There's a
mm,
whole second floor that, like, there's a whole library area. If you come to my office, I'm in my office here today. On each side of me, there's shelves just stuffed with books. If you go to my bedroom, I've got
mm,
bookshelves just
mm,
stuffed with books.
mm,
And I love them. And inside my iPad, I read right now. I'm reading a book a week.
mm,
I love the feel of a book in my hands. I also love, I do most everything by an iPad now.
mm,
Uh, but this is something that can live beyond you and
Mm,
your time.
mm,
And so one of the principles for me of why I'm actually writing my second book right now.
mm,
Um, and so I'm in that process of doing that right now, even though this is just releasing. Uh, is the key of how many more people could I reach,
mm,
serve, add value to in the world
mm,
if they were able to have me at 2 o'clock in the morning when they picked up their book at 2 o'clock in the morning. If they were able to do that on a plane where I couldn't sit right next to them, maybe
mm,
they were in a place where they didn't have internet and they couldn't listen to my podcast.
mm,
Um, so the motivation for writing the book, and I'll just be very, very frank, you don't write books to make money, right?
mm,
You don't write books to make money. You
mm,
write books to solve problems and serve people.
I like that. Oh, that was good. That was good. Mm,
So that was the motivation for writing the book as I began to look at the entrepreneurs that I have. And I'm going to switch gears here really quickly. I think I'm going to get my actual great tech back. So
mm,
you'll have good tech and good volume. So we'll see how it
mm.
goes here in just a minute. So if I switch for if I blip for a minute, Michael, I'm not going away. I'm coming right back in. Uh,
Okay.
but I began to think about how many more people I could serve, and I started a podcast back in 2018.
Mm,
And one of the motivations for there is I just wanted to sit across from you
mm,
and have a conversation with you that would serve you and add value to you. So when I wrote the book, what I did is I looked at that podcast, and I'll tell you, it's really a process, right? When you're writing a book, if you, I
mm.
know, Dr. Michael, you have written many
Oh,
books, right? And there's a
I
framework.
not like Dr. John Maswell.
Well, he's who we are using as our model, right?
Yeah.
So I think I've got you in the room here. I'm going to hand this off. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to
Okay,
do
let me
this.
just pause it. Yeah.
Thank
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So the process of writing a book and the where the motivation comes from is, I think if I could go back and I could say, here's what I would do a little differently. The very first thing I would do is I would have one person in mind. And when I began to really get into the writing process, I figured it out about halfway through. I began to write to Monica and Michael. And
Mm,
just coincidentally, your name is Michael. But Monica and Michael were who I was writing to. And I had thought about my 33 years in business and in being a money and mindset and business coach. I'm a money and business strategist. I do strategy for organizations, individuals,
mm,
even my own teams. And what I began to think about is how could I add value to them in a way where it became really a guide map of some of the things that I would want them to know about how to monetize and mobilize their mission.
mm,
And money touches all of us. So many of the concepts inside of here are financial concepts, but they're also life concepts. And I wanted to come from a place of authenticity to say, listen, we might look like we have it all together sometimes. You know,
mm.
it I'm wearing a nice fancy jacket today, and I got my suit on because I'm all dressed up because Dr. Michael, he always comes in looking sharp. The guy he can't not look sharp. He just always looks sharp.
Oh,
So I'm like, "Ah, I gotta come to play. No sweatpants for me today. It's, I'm on Dr. Michael's, we're gonna do the authors forum today. So, but I think when
mm,
you show up with your real story,
mm,
I share some things in this book that were, quite frankly, it's a financial book and a guide map for entrepreneurs and for people with money and business strategy and really practical tactical tools. And it's got real glimpses into my life. I share
mm,
things that
mm,
are were very painful. And
mm, mm,
everyone in this room has a story.
mm,
So I would just share with you one thing I've learned is that we are most suited to
mm,
serve the person we once were.
mm. It's good. Mm,
You're most positioned to serve that person that you were and who you've become along the way in that journey. So when you're writing your story as part of your content to
mm,
serve someone, I would every page, every section, and I took so much out of this book. I'll tell you, this thing could have been this thing could have been this thick, right?
mm,
But I took so much out of it because I wanted it to be containable for you. And I said, well, that'll go in the next book or that'll go in the next book. So I
mm,
just said, what would Monica or Michael need to know, learn, or do if I was sitting right next to them in the chair?
mm.
And so this is really a coaching guidebook for
Wow.
transformation in your financial situation, for transformation in your thinking, for
Mm,
mobilization of your money and monetization of your greatness.
mm.
Because the more that flows to us can flow through us and out
Yeah.
into the world.
Wow, wow, man, awesome. Now, there's so many things that you already put out now, and I like the way you started about the motivation. And I'm glad I was sharing this with one of the will be authors. In fact, she got like 2 or 3 books coming out at the same time. She's
Wow.
right here. I won't mention her name. So we were sharing, I think 2 days ago, and I know she'll be laughing now. Yeah. So, and I was talking to her about the motivation should not be selling; it should be
Right.
serving. I
Mm,
know there's something that is very much people are into, that I want to be a bestseller. And I said, no, I want to be a best server. I want
yeah.
my book to be a best server. And I believe when I become a best server, I will become a bestseller.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that. And somebody already put it in the chat. You talk about solving problems and serving a purpose. And that's a very good thing. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because this thing is sinking in. There are some authors that they are working on their book right now. So that will be like a good way of them reevaluating the motive that they have. Now I want to ask you
Yeah.
about one question I normally ask authors on Authors Forum. So talk to us about your book writing experience. Everyone have different experience. Everyone writing has a book writing experience. I wrote my first book when I was in medical school. It was like a booklet. That was
Yeah.
in November 2000. The second one came out September 2003. Then for 20 years there
Wow.
was a silence. There was no book until I started again in 2023, and in less than 2 years, 10 new books came out. And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and the thing is just like today is not about me; it's all about you. So what is your experience like? Because there's some things I found during that time that was responsible for not writing for 20 years. So what was your book writing experience when you started? How long does it take you?
Well, it took me a long time because what I realized was I did not make the time to write the book.
Mm,
So I started this years ago, and I
mm,
had a framework that I was like, well, I could talk a little bit about this. It wasn't really until I went back to the podcast and
mm,
I began to look at the podcast and I looked at each one of the chapters that have a
mm,
motivation of coming from my podcast. And I went back and went to how many people listened to that podcast? What kind of
mm,
feedback did I get on those lessons that I had taught in the podcast?
mm,
And I actually used that as the launch pad for this because the podcast I had I think 180 something lessons on that
wow.
podcast, right?
Mm,
On my I have a podcast called Live Life Rich, which is
mm.
still out there. I'm relaunching that podcast in September. I'll have brand new content that's coming out
Oh,
in
awesome.
September. Yeah, so I put it on pause for a year as I've been doing some other things. And so I paused it for a year, but that's coming back out here in September. And part of what I did was I looked at this and I said, what served them the most? Where did
Mm,
the most value get added?
mm,
And what if I put that into a book? I ask 3 questions that I think are really important as an author.
mm,
The first question is what if?
mm,
What if I did this? What if I did this? Like what difference would it make?
mm,
What difference would it make? Right? Is it for me? Is it for them? I
mm,
wanted to write a book that my children could use, my
mm,
grandchildren could use,
mm,
as a guide map, as a toolbox for them to reach in and say,
mm,
how do we think about this in these areas? What kind of questions do we ask? And
mm,
so it's very based on that, on really
mm,
practical, tactical, and then the story, right? Because we will all have an interrupting story. My grandchildren, I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old grandchildren. I'm raising my grandbabies along with my family. We have a big house together in St. Petersburg, Florida. We all live together. We're all doing that together. And my grandson, he's 5. He just turned 5 not too long ago, and he has learned how to tell jokes. And he said, "Grandma, I got a joke for you."
Ah!
I said, "Okay." He says, "Knock, knock." And I said, "Who's there?" And he says, "Interrupting cow." And I said, "Interrupting moo." And he goes, "Moo." See, we all get interrupted. Now, okay, all of you on the line are going, "This woman is the goofiest woman ever." Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Well, we're going to have fun when we do it. My book is going to be fun. My systems are going to be fun. My programs are going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. But I think that's real life, right? We all
Yeah.
have an interrupting cow.
Hmm.
Somebody who's interrupting your writing flow, somebody
Hmm.
who's interrupting your day, a thing that comes up. Stuff happens. Like this is real life, right? And
Hmm.
so my process for that was not very good at the beginning. And if I
Hmm.
could go back and speak to me 5 years ago, I would have
Hmm.
said, Marissa, ask these 3 questions. What
Hmm.
if?
Hmm.
What if you turned this out quicker? Because for years people had been saying to me as I spoke, they said, you should write a book. Oh, man, I wish
Hmm.
you had a book. How come
Hmm.
you don't have a book? And they would say, well, could I get coached? Could I go into your mastermind? Well, I'm full. I'm 2 years waiting list, right?
Hmm.
So I couldn't help those people in the same way. And I said, how could I help them differently? So what if? And then the second question is, what for? Why would I do it in the first place? What for?
Hmm.
The answer was resounding for me. I can serve more people.
Hmm.
I can serve more people with my book.
Hmm.
And then the third question is, what's next? What
Hmm.
actions will I take daily to
Hmm.
achieve this thing which God has placed in me
Hmm.
to go through me for them?
Hmm.
What God has placed in me to go through me for them. And it wasn't about you know that whole piece of, hey, let's get on another stage or let's make money or let's do that. It was really from the matter of how do we best serve them. And
Hmm.
I began to look at these 10 areas of challenges that people have,
Hmm.
businesses, in their finances, as an entrepreneur, as just everybody deals with personal finance. I don't care where you're at in the world. I don't care if you're
Yeah.
in Colorado or Ghana today. You're dealing
Hmm.
with finances, right?
Yeah.
We're all dealing with it. So,
Hmm.
so these money decisions, these mindset decisions, these really practical, tactical decisions that you could make in your day, part of being an author for you, as I speak to the authors in the room, is do you have a system
Hmm.
that you can daily apply?
Hmm.
Even if you write 15 minutes a day or an hour a day. The other piece for me where I really got tripped up in the beginning was I did not have a table of contents or a framework.
Hmm.
So I would just sit down and write and write and write and write and write and write, and I would pour out these ideas, but there was no concrete format to it.
Hmm.
And I needed a place to capture my ideas better. And who actually served me really well in this is Charlie Wetzel. So,
Hmm.
for all of you who know any of John Maxwell's work, 35 years, he's been John Maxwell's writing
Yeah.
partner for
Charlie.
35 years. Well,
Hmm.
Charlie Wetzel is a very good friend of mine.
Hmm.
And I said, Charlie, I'm really struggling here. Like, I'm really struggling. And he said, well, yeah, of course you're struggling because you don't have a framework. You don't have a table of contents that you're working
Hmm.
off of so that when you get the ideas, you're putting them into those sections.
Hmm.
Then you can flesh them out.
Hmm.
You can shape them out. And I went,
Hmm.
oh, that would have been a good idea like 2 years
Hmm.
ago.
Hmm.
So, so yeah,
Hmm.
that writing experience. And then I actually hired someone to come alongside me as well,
Hmm.
who had written several other books. And I said, will you coach me through this process?
Hmm.
Will you help me frame this up so that it makes sense? Because for how many speakers do we have in the room? If you're a speaker in the room, can you just put in the chat,
Can I
I'm a
put
speaker?
reaction chat? Yeah, yeah. Can you put it in the chat, please?
Yeah, put it in the chat. If you're a speaker in the room, put it in the chat. And the reason I'm asking that question is because speaking from the stage and writing are very different.
Hmm.
And so if you write a book, you will speak it different from the stage than how you
Hmm.
wrote it. And if you're a speaker who speaks, you will speak differently
Hmm.
into a podcast than how the written word will go. So
Hmm.
you need to have someone that will come alongside you. I'm a speaker, I'm a communicator.
Hmm.
I would not formally say I'm a writer. I'm an author today, but I would not formally say this is my gift. The reason I wrote a book is because I had a lot of traction
Hmm.
from a stage, but I wanted people to be able to take home really practical, tactical things with
That's cool.
me
Hmm.
after we had an introduction.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow. You know what, Miss Marita, something about you is just like you are a kind of person that you can just have for 1 hour. I feel like having you for a whole day because you are so loaded with so much live experience, practical experience, that you can just pull up. I mean, you just so enjoyable. I mean, you are a joy to be around. Now, I want to speak. There are so many uh, um, authors to be that are in the process. And one thing we find out in the authors forum when we started is this: a lot of authors are caught up in this perfectionism syndrome, and they're just waiting for everything to be perfect for them to bring the book. And I've told them that it doesn't have. That's why some books have 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and all that stuff. So can you speak to that? Because the so many people, and I see them, they have so many potential. They second guessing themselves. They just kind of like maybe like imposter syndrome. And I went through that to myself, you know. And can you share, can you share how you were able to deal with that and how you were able to overcome the perfection syndrome
Yeah.
that is delaying the book from coming, that no, I gotta get this, I gotta get that, and all that. And one thing also that you mentioned that I really want to really underscore is you were talking about you have content from podcast that you have done that becomes the things you are able to put together. And I always tell people this: if you've been doing something like podcast, if you've been writing before, those are resources that you already have. And I've done that myself, many times before I write a book. I've already started a series on LinkedIn writing about it. I want to see how are people reacting to it. And
Yeah.
I will speak about it. So from that response is what I normally write from. It's something that I see how people have it. So, can you share your own experience with us on how can people overcome this perfection syndrome that is delaying most books from being published? Thank you.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, so let me just share with you. I'm going to be really authentic here for a minute, and I'm going to just, for all of you in the room that have this perfectionism thing going, let me share with you what my dear friend, Dr. John C. Maxwell, said to me. Because I said, John, I want it to be good. In fact, I want it to be great. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to look like a schmuck. You know, I don't want to come out and people go, whoa, she's kind of a good speaker, but she's a sucky writer. Like I didn't want to be that girl. So I was like, oh, like I don't want to be that girl. And you know what he said to me? He said, Marissa, you need to get over yourself.
I know he would say that.
He literally, that's what he said to me. I was like, I was devastated. I was like, get over myself. He said, you know what? You need to get over yourself. He said, you're going to get better with every chapter, every word you write, every book you write. And he said,
Yeah.
this is the one of many. But he said, you have to start somewhere. He said, put something out. And then
Hmm.
he said, if you don't like what the very first version was, I'll tell you right now, when I hold this book in my hands, when I look at this today, there are 25 things in here I'd change. There's another 25 things I'd tell you. There is, when I go back over this is not perfect. It is not. It is not. I'm holding this thing, which I have spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a
Hmm.
lot of resources and a lot of energy, and I poured my soul into this, right? And it's still not what I want it to be. Right? But when John said to me, you got to get over yourself
Hmm.
because they are waiting for you. And if there's
Hmm.
one chapter in this book that will change a life,
Hmm.
if there's one chapter, if there's
Hmm.
one paragraph in there that becomes a light bulb moment for someone, and
Yes.
you deny them
Hmm.
because of your arrogance and ego, this is what he said to me.
Hmm.
You deny them because of your arrogance and ego.
Hmm.
The book that could be in their hands today,
Hmm.
he said, what a shame that would be.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that really got me off my tushy and got me up and got me moving. Because I'm like, listen, if John C. Maxwell says, get over yourself and do not do not withhold from them what you do
Hmm.
have,
Hmm.
because your greatness will grow.
Yeah.
Your
Hmm.
greatness will grow. So all of you that are in the perfection place,
Hmm.
there is something in your book, and I want you to write this down. Throw it on. I'm a big fan of like I have things written on sticky. Oh, you can't. I have
Hmm.
things written on sticky notes all over my computer if you're here in my office with me. And here's what I want you to write down. Grab a sticky note,
Hmm.
and I want you to write this on a sticky note and put it in front of you where you can see it every single day. Here's what I want you to say. Are you ready? Got your pens and paper handy? They are waiting for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
They are waiting for you, my friend.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
waiting for the words on that page,
Hmm.
for the story that's within there that they'll connect with, for the service you have to give them, for the
Hmm.
message, for whatever mess you'd write from or from whatever message you're giving.
Hmm.
They are waiting for you.
Hmm. Wow. That was a good one. That was a good one. And I'm so excited how you share Dr. John Maswell perspective. And because in writing the developing the leader within you, when he did its 2.2 version, and they gave him a criterion for changing 15% for it to be a second book. He said by the time he was done with that, like almost 75% of 85% exactly was changed.
Yeah.
So he said because he has grown and the book has not grown.
Yeah.
So and I'm so excited that the way you address it. So another question I want to ask that we normally ask in this authors forum about. So did you get stuck in the process of writing your book, and how did you overcome and when you are stuck? And some people started, they get excited, they get fired up, and they get stuck. So what do you do when you get stuck when you are writing your book? Thank you.
Yeah, so there's a few, let me give you some pro tips on when you're stuck, okay? So first the question is, are you stuck for material? So you need to ask
Hmm.
yourself, where am I stuck? It's
Hmm.
not just I'm stuck. Is it because I don't have the material that I'm looking for? I don't have the message. I got tripped up on a point that isn't quite coming through to me today. So if you're stuck on a point that isn't quite formed out yet, go on to the next thing and come back to it.
Hmm.
Go on to the next thing and come back.
Hmm.
Okay. If you're stuck where you just don't have the material today, you got to get out of that space and go someplace else. Go take a
Hmm.
walk, go sit by the sea, go, if you're in the north and it's wintertime, go make a snowman, right? But do something different to get out of your space.
Hmm.
Ideally, something creative. Think about creative space. And then I want you to go back to your story, the story, and their story. Going to read someone else's stories in that area of expertise. Maybe you're watching a YouTube video, but maybe you're reading a blog post or something like that. I go back to other authors. Right now, I'm in the process of writing my second book, and my second book, this first book, took me 3 years. 3 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
This second one, I'll be done in 9 months,
Hmm.
and then I'll have it go to publisher, and I'm publishing through a publisher. So I was very fortunate. I published through Maxwell
Hmm.
Publishing, and of
Hmm.
course they're run by Forefront Books, and Simon and Schuster picked us up, and so
Hmm.
we have, and that's mainly because John Maxwell did the foreword. I'll just be very honest with you. I was very fortunate To
mm,
get John Maxwell to have do the forward in my book was
mm.
an incredible gift from God for me. And
Yeah. Mm,
I'm a product of his books,
mm,
and he knows me well, and I know him. And he said,
mm,
yeah, I'll do the forward for you. So um, when you get stuck, there's a few things. Where am I stuck?
mm,
How am I stuck?
mm,
And what are some steps to get unstuck? Well, the next step to get unstuck is if you're stuck in an area, go on to the next one and come back to it.
mm,
Do
mm,
not let that become the thing that now defines you. Let it
mm,
be the piece that will refine you.
mm, mm,
Because the flow can still come from other places. So you say, oh, I'm stuck on point five or on chapter five, and I got five more chapters yet to go. Great. Go back to that overview. Go
mm,
back to the go back to your table of contents of what did you want them to know, learn, do, and feel
mm,
in this book. What did you want them to know, learn, feel, and do? Right. And go back to that and say, in each one of those chapters, what's my main purpose of that chapter? And then think about if you were sitting across the table with a cup of tea with Michael or Monica or whoever your people are, and you put their you set them across the table, and they're suffering with this problem or this situation,
mm,
what advice would you share with them?
mm,
See, asking better questions gets you a better result. And I feel like that's true in all areas of our life. Asking a better question gets us a better result.
mm.
So
Wow.
when I'm stuck, I start there. I
Mm,
identify where and how am I stuck? What do I have? And
mm,
how can I move forward with another area and come back to this?
mm, mm.
Right?
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. So my last question for you is this. What is one unforgettable idea in your book that readers can afford to miss and why?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I would just share with you there is one section here where if you're an entrepreneur, one of the sections that I talk about is the art of the introduction.
Hmm.
In if you are an author, a speaker, a coach, a business owner today,
Hmm.
pretty much this is for everybody on the planet that has a pulse, that has a job, that has a career, that has a business, right? We have got to do a better job with our art of the introduction. So there's a whole section in here. Now, when you say the point, it could be you're talking about the chapter, or it could be that you're talking about the overall point. So I'm going to give you two different frameworks of this very quickly, Dr. Michael. The first one is if you're looking for the chapter, that I would say, go to this chapter, and this is for everyone, everyone, everyone. Teach it to your kids, teach it
Hmm.
to your teams, teach it to your work centers, teach it to your church, teach it to everyone.
Hmm.
The art of the introduction really is an art that all of us, it's a skill that all of us can learn. And that is it's really part of that serving skill.
Hmm.
How do you get promoters? How do you get
Hmm.
people that promote you? Dr. Michael, you're a great promoter. I get around your energy and you're always lifting people up. Like you're just, you're doing that, right? You're like a big heart guy. You're just
Hmm.
always lifting people up and moving us. And so we want to be around people like that.
Hmm.
Uh, but I there's a pain, there's a plan, and there's a promise every time
Hmm.
you begin to pitch who you are or what you do. There's a pain, a plan, and a promise every time you
Hmm.
pitch who you are or what you do. Your church, for example, solves a problem. There's a pain in the world. Here's the plan you have for it, and here's the promise you make when you do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everyone in your church needs to know what that is.
Hmm. Wow.
There's in our communities, if you work at a hospital today, there's a pain that we solve, a plan that we have, and a promise to serve in this way.
Hmm.
This is what it looks like before and after. You walk into the hospital this way, you walk out that way, right?
Hmm.
In
Please,
your
can you
business,
say that again? I like the way you weave those three things together: the pain, the plan, and the promise. Can you say that again, please?
yeah. So the pain, the plan, and the promise, everywhere you go, in your business, in your
Hmm.
personal life, if you're dating today, you're dating someone today, you want to understand who are they? right? Who are they? So that's the pain point. This is the thing that we solve for others.
Mm,
The plan is how we solve it and the
mm,
promises of what it looks like when we solve it with them.
mm,
And so every time you give a pitch, and this is really important for speakers from a stage, you might want to consider framing up your talk in this way. I get paid between $25,000 and $50,000 a day to
mm,
speak.
mm.
Not for you, Michael. Like
Oh.
for Dr. Michael, Dr. Michael calls and I say, I will be there because I love this man. I love him. So
Thank you so much.
not for you. Like for you,
Oh,
I
thank
come. I'll just come
you.
because I love you.
Thanks
Um,
a lot. Yeah.
but
Mm,
but that's important for you. And if you're
mm,
just starting out as a speaker, as a
yeah.
coach, if you're
Yeah.
just in that startup phase, you might not be receiving that today. But
Mm,
you get good at the art of the introduction.
mm,
It's coming soon to a theater near you. It's coming. It is
mm.
coming because
Wow. Mm,
you
mm,
get others speaking about you. In
mm.
fact, I share an idea in there that in one of my businesses made me $1 million in one of my businesses.
Wow. Mm, mm,
Yeah, so
mm,
that's a not miss. Now, the overall theme of the book, I would just share with you the live life rich theme of the book, the live life
mm.
rich, just overall.
Why did you pick that topic? Yeah, and why? Yeah.
Well, first, I picked the word rich because it's polarizing.
Mm,
I come from a lot of church world. I work with a lot of folks in um, um, organizational development and different things like charities and nonprofit world. And they say, you can't use that word rich. It's really polarizing. People don't like it. I'm like, that's exactly why I'm going to use it. And let me share with you why. Because I believe that living life rich looks like this. It's
mm,
emotionally, relationally, spiritually, physically, and financially rich. And we have a poverty epidemic. We literally all around the world have a poverty epidemic in the world.
mm, mm,
There's a poverty epidemic. I see it in people every day. And I see this in very wealthy people, people who have money, people who have resources, people have power. They have those things, but they are poor in spirit.
mm,
They go home and their families look at them like they're a zero and not a hero. And yet
mm,
they're worth a $500 million today and they've been wildly successful in business. But
mm,
everybody around them thinks they're a schmuck.
mm,
And
mm,
I feel really sad for them. And I think, what would it look like if we could harness the power of what God gave us for a rich life?
mm,
Now, a rich life does not mean a perfect life. It
mm,
doesn't mean that you're living in high society and you're driving your Porsche and you're flying your private plane around the world. That is not what this book is about. I
mm,
come from the trailer courts, baby. I
mm,
come from single mom, 8 kids, trailer
mm,
court.
mm,
And I've been poor and I've had some resources. I've had both.
mm, mm,
And what I've learned along the way is that being rich is about walking in God's riches for us.
mm,
What I've learned is that my faith has driven these 5 core areas of being able to serve people. Stop selling, start serving.
mm.
Emotionally, when I look in the mirror, I
Mm.
want to be rich. I want to be whole.
That's good.
Relationally, when
Mm,
when my people that are next to me, my children, my grandchildren, my mother, I'm still so fortunate my mother is still on this planet with me. I get to
mm,
see her next week. And I think, at the end of my life,
mm,
what would I regret not investing in?
mm.
And so, rich, the reason I chose that word is I believe that there are riches that come from above, and there's
Wow,
territory.
that's awesome. You know what, Miss Marissa, I've met people, I've just had speakers, I've just like one-on-one. But there's something about you that you have so much wealth of. I'm not just talking about knowledge, I'm talking about experiential knowledge, and I liked relating with 3G leaders, people that are grounded, and people that are guided, and there are people that are growing, and that's something I see about you. And like I said, we already had another opportunity for us to get down to the book, because what you mentioned, uh the heart of introduction, is in your chapter 4.
Yes.
chapter 4 of your book. Like I said, I already started diving. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want it, and I want to make an open disclosure, and this is a real warning. Please don't do anything else when you are reading Miss Marissa's book. The book, it has a flow to it. I mean, you just can't, I got a knock on the door. Someone was dropping a package, and my wife said, please, I'm expecting a package. I just can't get away from the book. But I
Mm,
have to go and answer to the door to get the package in. The book is so good.
mm,
So that's what we're going to be encourage everyone to listen. I already placed the order for this book, Live Life Rich. And we're going to tell you how to get the book. For right now, we want to open up for Q&A, and because we're dealing with an international audience and some people right where they are now, the time is just like it's already after 10, 10 p.m, 10, 12.
Oh
Some
boy.
are 11, 12. Yeah, different part of the world, so we want to respect your time. So now, if you have any question for Miss Marissa, can you just we want to take some questions. Just put your hands up, like let's have the reaction button. You can just put and use that Zoom reaction link to yes, so that we can just call. I'll add you to the spotlight. We'll bring you on the stage, and please make sure your question is quick so that we can take as much people before the time. So it's a Q&A time. So I'm adding Coach Blanca, my very good friend all the way from Ohio. Yeah, Coach Blanca.
Oh,
And
Blanca's in
quickly,
the house. My very good
quickly
friend
introduce
too.
yourself and tell us
I
your
love Miss
question.
Blanca. I love her. Yes, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Marissa. Thank you so much, Coach Michael, for bringing her, because Marissa is a person that is planting seeds wherever she walks. And she walks with that authenticity and humility that touches everyone who is around her.
Mm,
Marissa, I would like to ask you a little bit about, in your book, when you talk about the direction and destruction, and you said in your book that it said, when presented with new opportunities, get in the habit of asking yourself always, direction or distraction. And I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of opportunities for distractions, good distractions, because you help a lot of people. You have your own businesses. You have your masterminds. I am very honored to belong to one of yours mastermind, and I learn every time from you. But how do you balance that uh, that time and focused, apart from being a working woman, being a mentor, being a family member, being a wife, being a friend? How do you manage that direction and distractions?
Wow, it's a big question, and it's a great question. Even when we were talking about this focus time earlier for the authors that are in the room, and they're saying, "Hey, how do I get enough focus time?" You see, either you fill your schedule or someone else does.
mm,
That's the first thing I would just share with you. Either you fill it or someone else does. This is why I love entrepreneurs so much, Blanca. I love small business owners so much, because you control your time and your energy and your resources. And as an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to
mm,
really, really change the world as a small business owner, whether it's with your side hustle or whatever it is that you're doing. So managing distractions versus direction in your life. The first thing I would share with you is I have a daily walk that I do every day. I have some very, very intense practices I do every day. And when I say every day,
mm,
every day.
mm,
So write this down for all of you in the room. Every day. These are the three things I do every day. I have a gratitude journal. So I start my day every day on my iPad with the gratitude journal. You can actually download this as an app. It's called the 5 Minute Journal. And you can go to the App Store if you use Apple products and download the 5 Minute Journal. And inside that journal, you have the ability to, the very first thing is write down what you're grateful for. So there's a minimum of 3 things you can put down. Now, I start my day with massive gratitude, and I look at all of the things that are coming at me. I look at
Mm.
my schedule the night before, I look at my schedule the morning of, and I have a prayer process through this. So just hang with me for a minute. So I first start with gratitude. The second thing I write down is a prioritization list for the day.
Mm.
What must I do today? Because all you have is today. John C. Maxwell wrote a book years ago. In fact, it's so funny.
Today matters.
You got it. I actually have the workbook right here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I had a first edition copy that Charlie Wetzel just gave me last week in his home outside of Atlanta. A first edition, you can't get them anymore. It's amazing. But that book has so rapidly changed my life on focusing on my daily dozen. What are the
Mm.
12 things I must do? And really get good at that. I read that book 20 years ago. I read it twice a year. And it really helps focus me on what's coming at me. And I'm a person of faith. So if you're not a person of faith in this room, take a pill. I'm not here to convert you. I'm just telling my story. Okay. So
You've been with Dr.
relax.
Johnson a long time.
Just just relax, right? Everyone relax.
Yeah.
But I share that
Mm.
with you because as God is guiding me and
Yeah.
my faith is guiding the
Yeah.
decisions in front of me, there
Mm.
are seasons for things. In fact, Blanca, you were part of a mastermind last year that I was part of that I couldn't continue that journey with those people in the same way this year because God had shared with me, let me tell you, there's some things coming and you've got to make space and
Mm.
make room for this because the impact is so great
Mm.
that now you're in a season of sacrifice. And man, I was mentoring these 10 women and I love them.
Mm.
When I say I love them,
Mm.
in fact, now just thinking about it, I, I grieve for it.
Mm.
Like I'm tearing up thinking about them because I miss them.
Mm.
I
Mm.
love them.
Mm.
And when you're walking with someone on their journey and you become part of it with them, there's a huge opportunity in that. But there's also a distraction that can come when you aren't following what God has. And I will just share you with me, I've been with God and I've been without God. With God is way better. Way
Mm.
better. Way better. Okay. So I'm asking that question about distractions versus directions. And I'm saying, does this align with my purpose? What is God saying about it? What's being confirmed in my prayer life and my scripture reading? What's confirmation? So I can immediately say yes to the things that are yes, and I
Mm.
can immediately say no to the things that are good, just good things. I do not do good things anymore.
Mm.
I don't do good, and people go, well, that's terrible. I only do the great things that God is asking.
Mm.
I do not do good things because I am now taking someone else's place to do that thing that was meant for them. Even
Mm.
though I may be equipped to do it, am I
Mm.
called to do it?
Mm.
So going back to what are you great at? What is your purpose? What stretches you? Where do you see the greatest level of impact? And I ask those three John questions of what is required of me, where's my greatest return, and what gives me the greatest reward.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I learned that from John Maxwell. And
Wow, that's awesome.
so
Mm.
those three questions, the three R's are part of that. And then the last thing I do is I pray a prayer. I do my I ams. I am faithful. I am strong. I am healthy. I am fit. I am loved. I am lovable. I am sourced and resourced with all that I need. I have a list of 150 I ams. I can
Mm.
just pull them right off. And then I
Wow.
pray a prayer, which I'll show you. I actually have it on my desk as a reminder every day. I
Mm.
pray this prayer from First
Mm.
Chronicles 4, 9, and 10,
Yeah,
which for the
Jabesh.
it's the prayer of Jabez, right? And it
Mm.
says, Lord, bless me indeed. Put your hand upon, expand my territory.
Mm.
Put your hand upon me. Keep me
Mm.
from evil so I will not feel harm or do harm to others. And here's the final part to that prayer that I pray every day. Lord, remove from me what is not for me. I am not strong enough to do it. I need your hand on me to remove from me the things that are keeping me from your purpose and your mission through me on this earth.
Mm.
And it's why I wake up like this. I literally wake up like this. I'm excited from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I go to bed at night because I know I am on point, on mission. And there are opportunities everywhere. We are opportunity optimizers, people like us, we're opportunity optimizers. There'll never be a shortage of opportunities. What there will be a shortage of is you. And so we need to be very selective on where we put our time, our energy, and our resources. And I ask the question, Lord, is this beneath you? Is this worthy of the time that you've given me today because today matters?
Wow, that's awesome. Wow, thank you so much. And thank you, Coach Blanca. We're gonna go to another person waiting.
Thank you,
Please,
Marissa.
yeah,
Welcome,
please,
Uncle.
if
Love
you
you.
want us
Thank
to
you.
spotlight you, you have to put your video on, please. And I see Godwin Folarin. Please, can you put your video on, please? So that we can spotlight you. Okay, okay. So just a quick introduction and make it very short so that we can get another person, please. Thank you so much. Just tell us your name, where you calling from, and your question. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Godwin Folarin. I'm a pastor from Africa. I've written two books. The first is The Power of the New Creature, and the second is Your Gift is Your Lift. And I wrote those two books years ago, and I'm stuck with what I call a legacy book, which I've not been able to produce. My question tonight is, it took you 3 years to write your book, and the next one is going to take you 9 months. Recently, I attended a course that taught us leveraging technology like Chat GPT, AI. And I discovered that I could write in 2 weeks. I want to ask both of you, both Dr. Michael and, without losing authenticity, I mean, is it possible to actually leverage on modern technology like Chat GPT, AI?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll let Miss Marissa go first.
Yeah, so I think ChatGPT is good for idea generation, but ChatGPT is not you. So it's really good for idea generation. So if you're looking for ideation and you're saying, hey, I need some ideas, I need some different ways of saying it, I need to be able to use that. I use ChatGPT in many of my businesses. It's helped me frame out how do I say that a little bit better? How do I clean that up? How do I make it more? But the authenticity of your story, I will tell you, I did not use ChatGPT to write my book. I'm not using it for my second one that's taken me 9 months. I'm using things like, idea frame up for, if I'm writing content for emails or things like that. But it's more of a give me the idea and then I make it my own. So I would encourage you if you're going to use those types of things. I had dinner with Charlie Wetzel last week in his home. He's actually a culinary chef. He not only is he an incredible writer, but he's a chef. And so him and his wife invited me to their home for dinner, and we had just a lovely evening. And we were talking about just this subject. And he said, they've sold millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies. Like one of their books has sold almost 5 million copies. Right. So the impact is significant. And what we talked about with that was ChatGPT is very good in its learning. The AI, the technology that we have, I think it's good if you want to utilize something for a framework of ideas, but never lose the soul in what you're writing. And I'm a person of faith. So here's what I'm asking. Instead of asking chat or some AI bot, I'm asking God. I'm saying, God, what do the people need to hear? What do they need to see? What do they need to feel? What do they need to do? And that's how I'm writing my second book. And I'll just tell you, it's really about leading your life with love in all these areas and how to master those areas and how to live authentically because we all have a story. And as you've pastored in Africa, as you've written these two books, I would encourage you, if you're talking about legacy, why is legacy important? What does it matter? Who does that serve? How do you build real legacy? And when do you build it? What does that look like? Those 5 questions, I've used those 5 questions over and over and over again in my business. There, I talk about them in my book, but there's 5 questions I use over and over and over again. Why, what, who, how, and when. And they can apply to pretty much any area of your life, your money, your business, your finance, your family, your relationships, your physical, all of it, right? Your spiritual life, right? Even your spiritual life. You know, why does this matter, God? Why is this important? Why is my faith so important? So when you begin to think about those why answers, it will require you. A book is you. And for all the authors in the room, I would share with you, yeah, you can definitely turn something out really quick on Chat GPT. What they will miss is your soul.
Yeah.
And you are so valuable. You are so valuable. They are not worth missing. It is not worth, because what I started this with was they are waiting for you.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you. So that would be
Wow.
my take on that.
Yeah. Okay. So we just have 3 more minutes left.
Oh,
So,
well, it's so fast.
I tell you, time goes fast. So thank you. Let's just come up with the next for saying. Thank you so much. Let's have Coach Remy. Coach Remy, she's one of the foundation. Uh, when we started the Authors Forum, and we call it Authors Pentagon. So she was one of the foundation members. So she
Wow,
just came
wonderful.
out with a new book. And
Yay.
on
What's your book on? What's your book on?
Quickly connected parenting 21 ways to create timeless memories in the teenage years.
yeah, really. Yeah.
Love this.
So
Love this.
she has never missed an authors forum since we started. So, Coach Remy, tell us, what is your question for Miss Marissa? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Marissa. I've followed you since I saw you at Maxwell meetings, and you've been an inspiration. My question for you, based on being an author, is this. So since my book came out, actually less than 2 months now, when I talk to people around this topic, it goes back to a question I'm attempting to answer with a second book. So I'm like, okay, I haven't even talked about this first book, but many of my questions that I'm being asked by parents is taking me to the second book I'm still penning. So, what's your advice? You're a new author. Are you not supposed to focus on fleshing out the message of that first book and not try to move swiftly into a second book? Because I knew it was a vital book, but now I just came from a conference and all the questions parents asked me about this first book is making me give them answers from my second book. So what would you say? Just let this first book be and get on with that second book to answer the questions. What would you say?
Yeah, well, I would say if you're going into conferences and you're answering those questions, this is a great time to gather content. For any of you that do speaking, training, developing of people in this way, um, take every question, capture every question and all of your answers that go with that, because that becomes the second book. But there's book trilogies, right? Let me give you an example. Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan runs the Strategic Coach. Dr. Benjamin Hardy is one of the hottest ticket writers on the marketplace today. He's getting $150,000 a speech right now. He's got his own like full-on coaching programs today, unbelievable. But he wrote 3 books. The first book he wrote was called The Gap and the Gain. The second book he wrote was called Who Not How, and the third one is called 10x is easier than 2x. It's a trilogy. So when people buy it, and in fact, I've bought these books, I've used these books, they're great books. I have bought these books, and for my clients in one of my masterminds that I did last year, it was a business mastermind. I used these 3 books and I bought them as gifts for my mastermind participants. And so I bought all 3 and I said, this is the trilogy. The first is the mind, the second one is the who, and the third is the what and the how. So when you kind of get to this part of really thinking about that mindset piece of the gap and the gain, he talks about, where are you living? Are you living in the gap? Are you living in the gain? Then people said, well, yeah, but I'm living in the gap. Now I'm living in the gain, but I still need help. And he said, oh, who not how? And so he wrote the second book, which was Who Not How. And then he said, well, great, now I've got the who that'll help me with the how, but we need to figure out how do we 10x our vision. And 10x is easier than 2x was born. And so you literally could do a trilogy of books. And that might be what you have here. You might also want to have a follow-up workshop that goes with this. It's say, we start this in this book, but let me share with you where we go with this in the workshop. We start this in the book, but we might want to go with this in the class or in the mastermind or in the coaching group. Right? So as you're speaking today, because the more people you speak to, the more ideation will happen. The more ideas will come and flow to you. The more you're in front of people and you're talking about the work. By the way, any of you authors that are trying to flush out your chapters right now and you're saying, hey, is this good or not good? Go test that content. Every single bit of the content that's in this, I have spoken from stage at some keynote or another. I have taught in a course, or I have taught to a mastermind group, or worked through with a client. It's all tested material. That's why I wrote it, because I know it works. It's tested material. And so you as an author have an opportunity to test your material. How does it land? How can I create a better dance with it? So I would encourage you not to get stuck in the conversation of, shouldn't I be doing this? I would say, how do I best maximize and mobilize with what I've got? You've got the first book, which led them to a list of the second book. And I would capture every name, every room, and every group that heard your first book, or you were brought in to speak on that first book, or you were discussing that first book. And I would get them on a lead list, on some type of an email list. And I here's what I do on the promo in the email list. I'd say, you read this book, you have all these questions. Here's where the questions are answered. And that'd be my second book or my guidebook.
Wow. In fact, I'm glad that you spoke to this. And apart from her, I've already given her the same answer that you gave her. That's just a confirmation. Because what she has is a book biology. You talk about book trilogy. She got a book biology, and I believe that book is a pair. I said, go get it out, and sell the book together. And another coach is on this panel. I still spoke to her 2 days ago. She told me the same thing. I said, why not? Bring the book, bring both of you can bring the workbook and the main book out at the same time.
You
So
bet.
this is why we have been experienced and authors like you, Miss Marissa, just to speak to this thing, because these are the things. That's why we started bringing guest author. Why we started, it was just me sharing I said no, and I was as a man of faith, and the Lord said, invite guest authors. Let there be an expanded perspective, and you have really served us so well today. Miss Marissa, I wrote in my book, and my new book that just came out now, that when we serve people, we get 5 things. and I call it an acronym, SOW, serving others well. So we sowing a seed when we serve. And you just demonstrated that today. So we want to say thank you to you, and on behalf of everyone here, and thank you, Coach Remy. We want to say thank you for serving us well. And today, there's so much. In fact, some people are just joining now. But the way we do it, we just have to wrap up. So we just want to hear your last word, your last comment before we go. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I want to encourage all of you, wherever you're at on your journey, your story matters, where you come from matters, what you've learned up until this point matters. And there is, when we can sit in a little stillness for just a little bit and begin to sit in what needs to be spoken through you to them, because they're waiting for you. You each have a gift. And I believe some of us in the room, man, we get, Michael, you've got multiple gifts, right? Some of us, but everybody gets at least one.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
born onto this planet, you get at least one gift. And
Yeah.
really match it. Like Blanca, I know her well. She's got a gift of a connector. She's one of the most connected and connecting people on the planet. Staying focused on your gift
Yeah.
and then serving others with that. That is what living life rich for me is all about.
Mm.
Emotionally, relationally, spiritually, physically, financially, getting focused, getting a
Mm.
plan in place, and
Mm.
moving forward daily. I'm grabbing my water pistols, I'm charging hell daily, and I'm bringing people with me. I'm bringing them out.
Mm.
I'm bringing them out
Mm.
because I'm on this planet today. You're on this planet today. You've got a story and you've got something in you that will serve people and make a difference in the world. And I'm going to
Mm.
start with where I began, or I'll end with where I began.
Mm.
They are waiting for you.
Yeah. Miss Marissa, how can we get your book? Do you have a link that we can put in the chat?
You bet.
Please, I want everyone to know that if there's any book you need to have in your library, Leaf
Yeah. So,
Library is the book. Listen, I ordered for my copy two months ago.
oh, it's so nice.
Really, really, I ordered for it. Amazon was telling me that it's a pre-order. I said, it doesn't matter. I ordered for Chris Robinson's book. I placed it because when I see leaders write book, I want to be on it. I read 11 books every day.
Oh, wow.
I
Wow.
love to read. Yeah, because I
So,
was stuck on my reading before, but now I just love to read to learn because the more I learn, the more I realize I need to learn. So this book is a book to read. So I want to encourage everyone, if there's a book you need to have in your life. In fact, if you read the foreword, Dr. John Maxwell himself said it in the foreword of the book. He
yeah.
said, if there's any book on planet Earth that will give you an ROI, he said it is Live Life Rich. That was what Dr. John Maxwell wrote on the foreword. I was so excited. I said, wow, I'm so excited to have this book. So please get the book and go to Amazon. Just type Live Life Rich,
Yeah.
Marissa Nehlsen. Yeah, or you do have the link here?
You can go. Yeah, she's putting the link in the chat right now. But if you go
Oh,
to
beautiful, beautiful.
liveliferichbook.com,
Oh,
liveliferichbook.com,
yes. Oh, beautiful. We got the link right here.
you got a link there. But if you
Liverich.com. Yes, just click that link.
liveliferichbook.com, it's
.com.
right there. We've got you got it right there. liveliferichbook.com. Really simple to find it and get it. And it's sold where all books are sold. So you can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes and Noble. There's a ton of options out there on where you can get it today.
Yeah,
And
please click that link. There's so much at stake for you, and you're gonna get so much understanding about. I mean, she really dealt with a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. The book is so rich, and I tell you, I don't know how much you looking at for books, but this book will change your life. Miss Marissa, the first time I saw her on stage, the effect is still there because she was teaching from those books, even though the book was not out then, but she got the book inside of her. And everyone in that room, in fact, Coach Remy too was there. That was an IMC. That was a phenomenon. Miss Marissa, we want to tell you that we love you so much. We appreciate your time. We know you can be anywhere in the world, but for giving us part of your time today. So from the Authors Forum and the Lamb Global Community, I want to say thank you. And this is going to go out on YouTube. And many people that I couldn't make it, some people asked, just say, please, can they get the video? I say, yes, we're going to put it on YouTube. It's going live today. And we're going to get it out. Thank you so much. Then we're going to bring you to the Lamp podcast and to really dive into the book. And yeah.
I'm really excited. If for all of you that are going to IMC, if you're in that community, I will be there, and they're actually doing my book. I'll be in the bookstore at IMC, and they're going to have a private book signing for us. So there'll be a book signing. If you buy a book there, we'll be part of that. And then just a quick sneak peek, only for you guys, only for the Authors Forum. So you know what? Here you go, sneak peek. We are doing a book signing, but we are also doing a book club that'll come out shortly after August IMC. And so if you buy 5 books or more, you will have a private book club that we'll go into where I'll do these types of teachings from the book, and I'll do Q&As with you. And it's going to be epic. John Maxwell is the one who encouraged me to do the book club. He said, you've got to do this in a book club. You can't just write the book. You have to do a book club. And I saw him last week in Atlanta, and he said, how come I haven't seen stuff on your book club? And he's poking me, right? He's like, why don't I see the book club out there yet? And I said, John, the book's not out till August 19th. He said, you better have a book club. You better have a book. I'm like, yes, sir. I will have a book club. So, so from John Maxwell's lips to your ears today, get ready for that book club and bring your teams. And I'm delighted to serve you in a
Wow.
way. So, yeah, thank you so
Wow.
much, Dr. Michael.